My name is Aruna, and it's my pleasure to bring this very interesting topic to all of you about sustainable value chains. I think we've heard sustainability a lot of times during the day today, from the morning till now. And today we're going to delve on a very specific aspect of sustainability when it comes to food. I think food is a very emotional topic. We could see that from all the panel discussions, the emotion that food brings on all of us. And we have a very interesting group of panelists here, from the producers to someone who's working on sustainability, R&D, and the packaging and the recycling, circular economy support provider. So we have different voices, and without further delay, let me jump straight into the conversation. And if I can start, Sergei, with you. You head the R&D and have voluntarily chosen to take on the sustainability mantle as well at Alain Farms, right? So tell us a little bit more about your perspective and your journey, and what are the challenges that you are tackling when it comes to sustainability and in specific the packaging aspect of that?
Sustainability is quite interesting aspect, and being with innovation for more than 20 years as a representative of the most futuristic function, I'm leading now sustainability program. And what I've learned today, that average age in UAE is 33 years old. And we cannot talk about innovation, we cannot talk about sustainability, not taking into account our final customers. And we see that our customers are very young, very advanced, and these people are very concerned about modern sustainability practices. Sometimes we have an advantage even learn from them what they're expecting from us. And of course, being a responsible producer, we cannot bypass the needs of our consumers. We cannot not take into account the need that food must be sustainable. From this time, all our concepts we developing taking into account the needs of our consumers. We're trying to understand what they think about the sustainability, what meaning they put on this sustainability concept. And of course, we cannot separate product part from the packaging part. All our new initiatives related both for product and packaging are considering a need of our final consumer. And it is as much sustainable as possible. I think in detail we will talk later on.
Thank you so much. I think that you brought in a very interesting perspective of ultimately, what does the customer think of sustainability, and are we matching up to that and addressing that need with them? I think this leads in beautifully to the question to Abdulaziz Albader, who's the head of sustainability of Almarai company. So you spoke to us earlier about the very interesting journey you've had at Almarai. And can you tell us what are your focus areas when it comes to sustainability? And as our MC was asking us earlier, who all are in sustainability thing, is this function didn't really exist as a designation few years back, but now it's probably one of the most important voices within an organization. So can you help us understand from your perspective about what this means as a company, and specifically when you're looking at packaging, what are the thoughts that are behind the screens?
Thank you for the question, Aruna. The sustainability is in new things in Almarai. We just only created the department in the last 5 years, and we're putting the strategy and we're putting the targets in that one. And most of the leaders in the companies, they have told me, you are a pain in what we are doing and what you are looking for. Sometimes it's difficult to achieve, and sometimes we need to invest more to getting the benefits in that one. As our CEO today has been talking in us and taking through what we are doing as an investment. We are investing more than 1 billion in the sustainability and ESG. One of the topics we are investing now heavily is the waste. Not only the packaging, but in general waste. So from the last 5 years, we're diverting more than 800,000 metric cubic meters from the landfill to do our main principles now what we are doing. Reduce, reuse, recycle. So the reason for doing that one, it's for so many reasons. It's in reducing the impact on the emission what we are creating. It's reducing in the energy we are consumption, and also it's giving us more flexibility and availability of product and more enhancement on that one. Since we know it's the food, we cannot reuse the packaging every time and time, so we need to have a solution. So always we are doing a collaboration with the packaging producer. And on that regard, why we are doing that one, it's in our regions, we are doing a collaboration with international and the local as well, because we need to having more impact on our product. But to take it to that way, the packaging industry and especially in the food sector, it's so critical because you need to be ensuring the quality of the product and the quality of the packaging can be capable to hold until the end of the shelf life. So we don't want to manipulate or trade off on the sustainability in that part. But at the end, what we are aiming is reducing where we can reduce the packaging, education our employee, how to doing the things better and better, and also take it forward to our customer and our community. So that's the reason we are doing more social engagement in that one, more campaigns, more awareness in that one. As well, we are talking to the third important party is the policymaker. So we don't want to be heavily impacted, but it's all in one place. So we need to talk to find the best solution can be affordable for this region.
No, brilliant. Thank you so much, Abdulaziz. I think you highlighted very interesting points in terms of all the ecosystem players, just picking from the earlier conversation that we had. It's not just one solution, it's an ecosystem of players, and the policy and the packaging. And I think with food, it becomes more sensitive because you cannot just implement a policy on using recycled materials because it's direct contact with food. So it's unlike any other industry where a lot more deep dive has to be done now. That leads us beautifully into the conversation with Alia, who's joining us from TetraPak. So Abdulaziz touched upon the importance of packaging, and TetraPak has been always leading the way in terms of the ethos is the packaging should not cost more than what the value that it brings to the table. So from your perspective, can you share with us when, from a TetraPak perspective, what are the challenges or roadblocks that you had to navigate to kind of bring this concept to life that the packaging should be sustainable and do what it's meant to do?
Thank you, Aruna, and nice to be part of this panel. What I would like to highlight first is TetraPak is not just a company that provides packaging products. The company, we're much more than that. We are an end-to-end solutions provider for food and beverage customers. So we have a concept, and it's very simple, and it's from farm to table. And TetraPak is involved in that entire process. So we come in at the processing phase, with our processing equipment and how cutting edge they are, to the packaging, of the content and the products that got processed. And then we're also, and this is what we're here to shed light on today, tying into our panel and sustainability, is then the recycling of the package. So when you see a product that's packaged in TetraPak cartons and after it's consumed, what we're doing in the region is we've made investments, and part of my role as well with the company is to raise awareness that once that package is consumed, it can be recycled and it can be turned into more valuable products, and it doesn't end at the landfill. So I wouldn't say that there are roadblocks per se. Actually, we see complete appetite from the customer side for solutions like this coming in. And we actually see tremendous support on the government side as well, because you were just mentioning with campaigns and so forth, sustainability, yes, is a buzzword. And a lot of people actually want to see tangibly what it means. And what we're seeing is there's tremendous support from the government as well in terms of regulations and processes for a company like TetraPak to come in and then make those investments and then complete the entire loop for businesses in FMB. So to answer you, I think where we are in the world, in this part of the world, there are actually opportunities more than roadblocks, and there is support and there is appetite for a company like TetraPak to come in and collaborate with partners and with the government, you know, to roll out a full solution that then ties into a circular economy.
Thank you so much, Alia. I think she made a very valid point in the sense that while sustainability is a buzzword and probably used and misused very often, it comes down to tangible projects, tangible activities, and tangible results where we can meaningfully close the loop. So, you know, from talk to action. And I think probably that's where we lead into Jerome. Jerome joins us from RECAPP, and which is a part of VEOLIA. Jerome, can you tell us a little more about in this ecosystem of players, what is the role that you bring in terms of closing the loop? Because I think that's where is the most critical part. All the other elements can be well placed, but if the last mile is not closed with support of players like yourself, then the loop is open, and you know that's little window when that product or the packaging ends up in the landfill, right? So tell us more about what's happening on that front.
Good afternoon, everyone. So what I would like to share, first of all, I'm very happy to be there. I'm most of the time called for some panel session. I'm a kind of voice raising my voice for more awareness, for more sustainability, for more circularity. And I used to work every day with a lot of brands. So brands like yours are very essential in the ecosystem, because if we want to close the loop, in reality, we have a lot of work to do. And the first one would be, of course, and it has been mentioned, the awareness. Because the first role in this ecosystem have to be played by us as individuals. So awareness, education, segregation at source, in order to be able then to access to a feedstock of different type of food packaging. Or other type of packaging as well that we consume at home. So this role is essential, and this is where we have a first lack of communication here in the region. We need to educate much more the population, either the citizen or the resident, because we have a lot of different nationalities, different cultures, and we have to spread a unique message to everyone, because we are all the same, we live in the earth, and we need to take care of ourselves, so we need to take care of the planet, and we need to be more sustainable in our behavior. So communication is essential. As RECAPP, to give you who we are a small department in a big company in waste management, the world leader in waste management, because we are 220,000 employees in almost all countries, in every continent. Fair enough. But it doesn't mean that we have all the solution and that we are able to close the loop for everything, right? So we have to work with the other. And before I saw the panel, it was about competition and collaboration. This is exactly what we do. So the second step for us, when we do this education process, through the digitalization of the collection of the waste here in the UAE, because we do promote the segregation, and after we collect this material from the household or from any doorstep, an office, for example. Then what can we do? Either we use what we have currently here in the GCC, or the best if we are here in the UAE, in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, for instance, but you have to find a recycler in order to close the loop. And obviously it's not easy. So you can have a feedstock, but if you cannot do anything with, it doesn't make any sense, because you will have to transport this material over sea, and you will have an increase of carbon footprint into your system. So we work with the other. So in order to work with the other, you have to work with the government. So for example, what we did with MOIAT, the Ministry of Advanced Technology and Industry, we have been able to set up some regulation in order to make sure that this food packaging can be recycled with a food grade standard for the PET polymer. And we found someone, a company based in the UAE, who have been able to produce for the first time a recycled PET pellets. And then we approach the brand in order to make sure that we can have this material on the supermarket. So the retailer have also another role to play to promote those products compared to another one which is less sustainable. So it's a full ecosystem, and you have to play a role, I was mentioning, because you are, for instance, in Saudi. I'm not yet in Saudi, but if I want to come, I need to have your company as a partner from the day one. This is exactly what we did with Al Ain Water, which is a big company based in the UAE producing PET bottles, for example. And we close the loop with them. But for TetraPak, it's essential also to work with us, and it's essential for us to work with TetraPak. And we have not been able to do it previously, but we will maybe in the future. Because when you have the education done, and talking about the whole country where there is an awareness since 40 years, if you don't have at the end the investment from the recycler, from the brand who want to be invest in that recycling process, it doesn't work again. So we need to have a full circular economy which is local in order to keep the economy, so the economics of this business model here locally. And this is what I believe you do already in Saudi Arabia. What you are going to do in UAE, it means that if they found the solution to recycle a beverage carton, we need now to spread awareness as a digital solution to everyone here in the UAE. We need to collect the material. We need to make sure that we can use the same business model for our competitor, the other waste management company. And then we need to provide this feedstock to the recycler. And like this, we can, after that, be proud to say that we close the loop.
Interesting. So, I think we keep coming back to the point that there's such an important role of so many different players in the ecosystem. So, very well said, Jerome, in the fact that awareness is one thing, but you need to have local facilities which will actually do what is needed to then close the loop. Sergei, if I can come to you in terms of, if you can share with us some insights or success stories or examples of the work that you have been doing in the space of sustainability or packaging, because you also do a lot of work in R&D. So what are some of the successes or insights or positive aspects that you can share with all of us from your experience?
So I would say this sustainability program doesn't have final goal. It's more journey, because it's an endless story how you can improve your products, how you can improve your packaging materials, how you can improve your distribution and business model. So in our case, on regular basis, we are reviewing all potential opportunities related to our packaging. We have some of the packaging solutions we're producing internally, some of the packaging materials we are sourcing from our local and global partners, and it's consistent work together with them. So, for example, recently we reduced the size of preforms, which gave us significant reduction of plastic, which is one of the basic concepts of sustainability, reduce. We are implementing some reusable materials. Unfortunately, at the moment, we sometimes facing that using virgin plastic is cheaper than using recycled plastic, but industry is going toward this direction, and we are doing these efforts. We continuously interacting with our suppliers in order to make not only plastic solutions sustainable, but also business model should be sustainable. And of course, as I told you, success, you cannot measure that okay, today I'm not successful, tomorrow I will be successful. It's a kind of discipline which we internally implemented and we constantly following, so we supposed to assess all our initiatives through the specially developed sustainability matrix. And only afterwards all new products or new packaging solutions will be implemented.
Thank you so much. So I think that's a fair point where, sustainability is not a one-time event or a one-time activity, it's a journey. And I think it's important that we evolve, and a very valid point raised that financial sustainability is also as important as environment sustainability, because if you're not able to sustain the business financially, then it doesn't make really sense to speak about other aspects. So, Abdulaziz, if I can hear your point of view, picking from what Sergei mentioned in terms of it's a journey. There are constantly things that are evolving. A lot of things are reshaping the F&B industry, not just packaging, but various other aspects. So, from your perspective, what is the most significant shift you are seeing in this domain, and how are you kind of adapting to those changes? Because sometimes things just change so fast. So can you share with us some insights and examples from your side?
Yeah, of course. So in Almarai, because we are huge and mega, so we are producing on an annual basis around 2 billion pieces in annual base. And we are producing 1.5 million liters, a billion liters in a yearly. So what we this year we totally has been changing our mindset to having more collaboration with our partners, successive partners. It's not only as suppliers we are treating them now, we are separating that one, we are collaboration with them, even with our competitors in terms of this kind of success and in terms of sustainability, how we can tackle it, how we can reduce on everything we are doing now. One of our partners we are collaborating with is TetraPak. They are sitting with us here, and so we launching this year is around 7 projects only with our packaging partners, and it's only to minimizing and reduction of the packaging materials, and in terms also to finding us a different solution and reusing and reduction on that one. It's not only one part. It's a huge things we need to do it in all of us, not only one part. And the other part is how we can put a message to the consumer, how they can treating the product after they consume it, how they are doing the segregation in-house, how they are doing it in every step in that one. So what we did in Almarai, we launched new programs in Almarai. So we have now 37 categories of waste, type of waste. So as much we are doing item and segregation, it will be easier to us to identify and where we can recycle it and where we can tackle it. And in this regard, we are generating money from that waste now. So it became as a benefit to us rather than it's a thing is in our shoulders is we carry it out now anymore. But on other hand, we are seeing now a reduction in our waste inside our factory, inside our premises, because our employee has been adapting the new things and changing their behaviors. Once you're changing the behavior in everybody can be influencing others and making a bigger impact. And this is what we aim. So the project we are aiming and do it with our partners in the packaging is not only for the packaging where we can reduce, it's only in all of the aspects of the sustainability in terms of environmental, in terms of social, in terms of governance, in terms even beyond that one is to developing platform for that one. And that's what we are aiming at Almarai.
That's very holistic, because you spoke about the E, S, and the G and how it integrates. So while packaging is one aspect, I think we always have to ensure we look at the big picture and integrate these smaller projects into the overall journey. So Alia, if we can understand from your perspective, you did mention about a lot of initiatives that TetraPak is taking in terms of projects and actually action that happens on ground. Can you share with us a few examples of what's happening within your organization in terms of specific initiatives or projects which are actually coming to life?
Sure. Before I walk you through some of the examples, I just wanted to reflect on a conversation that I had today here at the conference, and it was with one of the journalists. And we were speaking about the recycling investments and how the carton packages by TetraPak are recycled. His understanding was by them being recycled, it means you reuse them and you fill them again, which is not what we're doing. You know, they're recycled into other forms of items. And I think that's the challenge here is to, so there is awareness, but it's not in the right direction. So to tackle that, I'm going to highlight 3 initiatives. Number 1 is actually a campaign that we're currently running in Saudi Arabia, and it's called Made, Consumed, and Recycled in Saudi. We're highlighting that TetraPak has been in Saudi Arabia for 44 years, working with businesses of all sizes in the FMB sector. And one of the objectives of the campaign is to highlight that customers in Saudi Arabia, when they collaborate with TetraPak, they're championing packaging products that are actually made in Saudi Arabia at our factories over there, that are then consumed by people in Saudi Arabia and then is recycled in Saudi Arabia, because TetraPak has partnered, you know, in reference to my fellow panelists here when they're talking about collaboration. We've actually partnered with 2 well-known companies in Saudi Arabia. One is Albader Paper Industries, and the other one is Saudi Top Plastics. And together, the 3 entities have actually brought a recycling solution for carton packages in Saudi Arabia. The facility is in Riyadh, and the capacity of that recycling facility is 8,000 tons of carton packages per year. So the facility is there. All the businesses in FMB can leverage it. It's a solution that we're bringing to our customers in Saudi Arabia. And we are there to make those kind of investments. Similarly, in the UAE, and in reference to what Jerome was saying as well, we are going to go live with a similar initiative here in partnership with Union Paper Mills. So we are again making another investment in the millions of dirhams to make a recycling solution that is very specific to carton packages, accessible here in the UAE for the companies in the FMB sector. So anyone who is producing products, juices for example, or milk, that are packaged in carton packages with TetraPak can then have access to that facility to recycle. So that's work that we're doing on the customer front, and of course, you know, with government support and so forth. Also last year, we kind of dialed and diversified things up a notch, and we partnered with one of our customers in Saudi, Sadafco, and we actually ran a complete awareness program in schools. We went to 100 schools in Jeddah and 150 schools in Riyadh, and there were a series of workshops with children in primary stage to generate awareness about recycling and sustainability and what happens to, you know, the juice boxes that they have in their lunch boxes, what happens to them after they consume them, and helping them understand the impact of even, you know, these small habits. And then again, all the carton packages that the students consumed during that period were then taken to the recycling facility in Riyadh, and they were recycled over there. So the work that we're trying to do in this part of the world is not just customers and sales and packages and all that. We are very genuine about really putting mechanisms in place and processes in place that really do support sustainability. And as we mentioned, and this is over and over again, yes, sustainability is a buzzword, but what does it really mean? What it really means is continuity. Is setting up a process or a mechanism or a solution that can happen and can continue and can last, and that people can use. as well, and they can connect it, because you can go and you can set up a process or even a solution, but then there'll be so many challenges for people to use, or so many regulations they have to go through. The idea is to make things accessible, and that's why going to schools is one. You know, these programs with the schools. So these are 3 initiatives that, you know, are very recent to what TetraPak has been doing in the region.
Brilliant, thank you so much. I think it's very encouraging to see that all of our panelists are actually able to share real life initiatives and examples, and it just shows that how much we've moved in the journey from probably a strategy in a PowerPoint deck to actually having projects and initiatives on ground which we can speak about. Before we go on to the audience questions, Jerome, if I can come to you in terms of how do you see kind of the next steps in terms of circular economy within this region? And as RECAPP, how are you building stronger ecosystems, and there is the whole legislation of EPR that is round the corner with extended producer responsibility, where that's being explored as an option to fuel this ecosystem. It could have, you know, impacts in different ways, but from your perspective in the role that you play, what do you see as the next key things that are happening in that space?
Yeah, by being part of the meeting with the government for the extended producer responsibility that is under, I will say, progress, with a pilot that should come soon here in the UAE, I know that we have different point of view, from the recycler, from the consumer perspective, or the brand owner's aspect. There are different opinions. I think it's very important to place an EPR where it's really possible to focus on all type of packaging, because the mistake that we could do is to focus on the PET bottle, while I'm collecting 69% of PET bottle, for example. But it's one part of the ecosystem that we discussed before. We need to provide a solution for each and every packaging. An EPR should push and promote for a benefit for the brand owners if they work on their eco packaging. For example, with a reduction of the thickness of the packaging, meaning that we conserve the resources, and obviously we spread less weight on the market, and then we, even if we cannot, let's say, capture this material, it will take less space in the landfill, for instance. So it's important. Then you need also to consider that as a brand owner, you should not pay for everything. We have a role again to play. So an EPR is a solution in order to spread more awareness, to make sure that we can collect, because if you don't collect anything, obviously you have nothing to recycle, to make sure that there is a part of responsibility coming from the people, the company, spreading on the market those packaging, but at the same time, the government also have a role to play. So what I see in the future as a challenge, a DRS, a deposit return scheme, for example, is not a solution, is a part of the solution, but maybe later on, not immediately, while we need to focus on the infrastructure itself. If you look at the collection, I live in Dubai since more than 10 years. I have one bin for my general bins, my general waste, which is black color. I have a green bin in front of my house for the recyclable. Okay, so my green bin is obviously most of the time empty because I'm using my own solution, RECAPP, so I push people to do the same and to segregate their material in one specific bag where you are 100% sure that we will recycle. So the infrastructure needs to be redesigned, because when you look at this green bin, you have 12% of what is inside that at the end will be recycled. 12, sometimes even less. Why? Because of the contamination, and the contamination is done by ourselves as a household, or by your neighbor who doesn't have the same relationship with the waste, or by the worker who did some work close to your home and said, oh, I will use this bin and drop my stuff inside. So contamination is a very big problem. Then the infrastructure itself. If you want to be efficient in terms of collection. You need to ask for more segregation. So it means that the cost is more expensive for the collection, while here in the region, not only in UAE, but in Saudi Arabia as well, for example, the value of the packaging, post-consumer packaging, is 3 times less than in Europe. So as a collector, if you collect it, you don't cover your cost. So we spread the word that waste could be a gold. No, waste has a value, but it's not a gold. Okay, it's not gold at all. There is a value if we are able to close the loop with this waste. So we need to have an ecosystem where we have a trust of the infrastructure, because you cannot push the community to segregate more if that at the end they see one truck putting everything together. You cannot get their trust if at the end you just ask to drop everything in the landfill for a very cheap cost. It used to be 10 dirham for a truck, now it's 100 dirham for the ton. In other countries, it's not 100 dirham, it's $100, 100 euro. So the story is not anymore the same. You have to do a second step of segregation. So the infrastructure is very important in terms of collection, and then the value chain need to be developed. True. If I may, I focus at the beginning on the project to spread awareness. We have more than 100,000 people using our digital application, more than 400 companies in Dubai and Abu Dhabi using our solution. We collect 100 tons of small items which are between 10 to 15 grams, 100 tons every month. We have only 15 trucks. It's not a truck, it's a panel van, a light vehicle. Imagine if this infrastructure is scaled up, it means that you can collect much more than what we are spreading on the market. At the end, we need to look at the value chain, what we can do. So with Dubai Duty Free, for example, I'm collecting all the sample of perfume bottle, and I'm able to provide this feedstock to a transformer, a converter into cullets. At the end, we are able to send this material again, still locally in the UAE, in one facility to produce a new bottle. And we do the same with cans made of metal, with Rainbow. We do the same with Horizon and Axia Group, Align Water, locally also for the PTA bottle. So the value chain need to be created, but the economics, the business model need to be reinforced, and the ecosystem need to be enforced by the government.
So I think since the panel here was very interesting, I've been asked by the MC to open the floor for maybe 1 or 2 questions before we wrap up, because I think there are 2 topics that connect all human beings because we are directly involved. One is food, the other is waste, and I think we spoke about both of those aspects today, because that's something which is not just a business concept, but as consumers, because today while we are speaking as professionals, I think as consumers, as people who are within the ecosystem, we all are connected to food and waste in one way or the other. So can we have, do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, so maybe what we'll do is we'll take one final wrap-up comment from all the panelists in terms of how do we actually bring these sustainable value chains to life through meaningful initiatives, or what is your hope? So Alia, if I can start with you, what would be that one thing that you would want to focus on to bring sustainable value chains to life?
I would definitely focus on awareness. Definitely, and making the right investments in awareness, either working with journalists, either working with even influencers, with key opinion leaders, because I feel like businesses are ready and we have government support and all that, but the awareness bit needs a lot of fine-tuning in this part of the world.
Abdulaziz, what would be your point of view on this?
Yeah, so the thing is, we need to lead by examples in what we are doing. If you want everybody is to do the right things, you need to leading that team or leading that company is by doing the right thing in the right way. So just only talking without action, there is no point in that one. Mm-hmm. So, and the more awareness and more leaderships programs in place, as well as we can, starting with the young generation for education and awareness starting from homes, from school, because it's not only one responsibility, it's only everybody's responsibility.
Sergei, what would you say would be your key focus?
I would say we must consciously look into the future, think about next generation, and apply some probably daily routines and daily discipline, if we can say like this, in our household, in our work habits, in our development principles, in our business models. Sustainable part in this discipline is mandatory to allow us to leave the planet in the same conditions as we took it to our kids.
So, Jerome?
To complete what has been said, I will say that innovation is super important. You have to use the new technologies for awareness. The digitalization through the social media is a big impact. Leading by example, you have to implement new technology into your company when you produce packaging, but also when you want to participate in the recovery by using new startup, new initiative, which comes with very interesting innovation in terms of either recycling process or just collection process. And at the end, innovation is the future. It will give to our new generation, our kids, that working in the waste industry, working in the production of packaging can be very fun because it's not boring. There are a lot of things to do to improve what we are doing currently, and we need them. We need them to continue what we start in the pathway that we are building together today, which is very small compared to what they will achieve, I believe.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this very interesting discussion. I think this kind of beautifully brought together a lot of what was discussed during the day in terms of competition, collaboration, bringing it into co-opetition. That's what we kind of heard here. And we look forward to engaging and keeping this conversation continued. Thank you so much to my panelists. It was wonderful hearing your point of view and very inspiring to see that all of you are doing real things within your respective roles, which is having the positive impact. Thank you so much.
Thank you.